We've all heard the myth, humans only use 10% of their brains. But what if that weren't true? What if you could unlock 100% of your brain's potential? Would you gain superhuman intelligence? Move objects with your mind? Or is the truth far more complex and surprising? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most popular neuroscience myths and exploring what would really happen if you could use every single part of your brain. Before we unleash the full power of this topic, don't forget to subscribe to Beyond Facts 25 for more mind-blowing content every week. The idea that we only use 10% of our brain has been around since the early 1900s. Some credit it to psychologist William James, others to misinterpretations of neurological studies from the era. Hollywood later ran with the concept in movies, like Lucy in Limitless, suggesting that unlocking 100% of brain power could lead to superhuman abilities like telekinesis, instant knowledge absorption, and even mind control. But let's set the record straight. We already use 100% of our brain, just not all at once. Modern brain scans like fMRI show activity in virtually every part of the brain, depending on the task. So, where did the 10% myth come from? And why does it persist? One explanation is that early neuroscientists noticed large areas of the brain that didn't seem to be active during specific tests, but this was due to the limits of their technology, not because those areas were useless. In truth, our brains are incredibly efficient, and every region has a role, even if it's not always obvious. It's also a matter of how we define use. Just because a region isn't active all the time doesn't mean it has no function. Some parts of the brain manage unconscious processes, like regulating heartbeat and breathing, while others activate only during specific activities like complex decision-making or emotional processing. Saying we only use 10% would be like claiming we only use 10% of a car because we're not always using the headlights or windshield wipers. And let's not forget, the 10% myth is seductive. It makes us feel like untapped geniuses, like there's a hidden reservoir of power waiting to be unlocked. It fuels books, motivational speeches, and pop culture fantasies. But in reality, the brain is already operating at a high level. It's just that unlocking new ways of using it requires training, not tapping into a mythical unused portion. What does using 100% really mean? Let's imagine for a moment that it's not about physical usage, but about maximizing the brain's potential, increasing processing power, memory retention, creativity, and emotional intelligence all at once. That's what people really mean when they fantasize about using 100% of their brain. So what would that look like? Cognitive superpowers. You might process complex information instantly, like doing advanced math in your head or mastering languages in hours. Enhanced memory. Think of a perfect photographic memory, recalling everything you've ever seen or heard. Creative breakthroughs. You might compose symphonies, invent new technologies, or solve unsolved scientific mysteries, all in your spare time. Emotional mastery. You'd have complete control over your emotional responses, staying calm under pressure and maintaining clarity in the most chaotic situations. Sensory expansion. Imagine being able to hear frequencies beyond human range or see into the ultraviolet spectrum. The brain, if enhanced, might learn to interpret sensory input in new ways. Problem-solving genius. You could visualize and solve abstract problems with a level of clarity far beyond current human capability. From complex equations to massive, global challenges. But there's a catch. Our brains are also designed with limitations for a reason. Using every neural circuit at once could lead to seizures, hallucinations, or cognitive overload. In fact, conditions like epilepsy can result from uncontrolled neural activity, a sign that more brain activity isn't always better. Additionally, our brains consume a massive amount of energy. Despite accounting for only 2% of body weight, the brain uses about 20% of our energy resources. A fully optimized brain might require more energy than the body can realistically provide, leading to physical exhaustion or the need for radical changes in diet, metabolism, or even biotechnology to sustain it. Ultimately, using 100% of the brain isn't about lighting up every neuron at once. It's about creating harmony between regions, optimizing communication between hemispheres, and tapping into the brain's full potential, not just its raw capacity. Still, some people do exhibit extraordinary mental abilities. Consider savants, individuals who, often due to neurological conditions, display near superhuman talents in specific areas like music, math, or art. One example is Kim Peek, the inspiration behind Rain Man, who could memorize entire books in minutes and recall them with astonishing accuracy. There are also hyperthemestic individuals who remember every day of their life in vivid detail, and polyglots who speak dozens of languages fluently. What's fascinating is that these people aren't using more of their brains, they're just wired differently. Sometimes their brains compensate for deficits in one area by becoming incredibly efficient in another. So, is there a way to realistically boost your brain function? Absolutely. And it doesn't require a sci-fi pill or brain surgery. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to change and grow. You can strengthen it by learning new skills, challenging your memory, and stepping out of your comfort zone. Exercise and sleep have massive impacts on brain function, improving mood, cognition, and memory consolidation. Meditation and mindfulness can actually restructure the brain, increasing gray matter in areas responsible for attention and emotional regulation. Healthy diet. Omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and other nutrients are linked to better cognitive health. There are also experimental technologies like brain-computer interfaces and neurostimulation being explored to enhance cognitive abilities, though most are still in the early stages of development. Let's get imaginative for a moment. If humans truly could tap into 100% of their brain potential, fully optimized and harmonized, we might see a new era of civilization, telepathic communication through brain-to-brain interfaces. You wouldn't need words, just thoughts sent directly to others. Instant learning by downloading skills and knowledge directly into your brain, bypassing years of education. Shared consciousness or hive minds linking multiple brains together, creating collective intelligence beyond any individual mind. Radical empathy, where we could feel what others feel, breaking barriers of misunderstanding and conflict. Near immortality, as we upload consciousness into digital forms, preserving identity beyond the biological lifespan. In this world, daily life would be unrecognizable. Education might become obsolete. Conflict might decrease due to unprecedented understanding between people. Innovation would accelerate rapidly as enhanced minds collaborate in real time across the globe. However, this utopia also comes with potential dystopian consequences. Privacy could vanish, as brain-to-brain communication makes thoughts more transparent. Mental security would be paramount. Imagine the dangers of brain hacking or forced manipulation. Social inequality could deepen, with enhanced individuals gaining unfair advantages. In work, politics, and influence, human identity might blur as people begin merging their minds with machines, questioning what it means to be human. We'd also need new laws, new ethics, and perhaps even new definitions of consciousness, intelligence, and rights. So while the idea of unlocking 100% of the brain is thrilling, it also forces us to consider profound societal shifts. It's a double-edged sword, incredible power, but one that must be wielded responsibly. So, do we only use 10% of our brains? No. But could we be using our brains in better, smarter, and more powerful ways? Definitely. The human brain remains one of the greatest frontiers of science, and every day we get a little closer to understanding, and maybe one day unlocking its full potential. Who knows? Maybe the next breakthrough won't come from a lab, but from inside your own mind. If this video lit up a few more neurons in your brain, hit that like button and subscribe to Beyond Facts 25 for more deep dives into the mysteries of science, the universe, and the human experience.